Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Unqualified. I'm your host, Destiny Dill. You can find me now on YouTube at UN_qualified podcast. That is my handle name. I'll do some shorts. I'll probably put some bloopers up because trust me, there's going to be a lot of them. Also, in the comments below, wherever you're listening to, hopefully I'll see them. I know I'll see them on YouTube. I might see them on Spotify. I'm still figuring that out, and I don't know about all the other stuff. So leave a comment on any subjects or any topics that you want to hear my unqualified take on, because that's pretty much what I'm doing, because I'm a nobody. So anyway, let's get started. This is Unqualified. Also, I do want to add really quick, I know I'm supposed to be done with my intro, but I am going to work really hard on editing and getting all the pauses and the long, drawn-out stuff, because I'll listen to my old stuff and I'm like, man, Destiny, come on, get to the point, like, seriously. And it's so funny, and this has nothing to do with the lesson, this is just me podcasting and talking. It's so funny. I'll record myself and then I go back and I'll edit, and I usually use Odyssey, and it has all like the lines and stuff and all the pauses. And you can see it's so bad. You guys have no idea. Like, I don't actually talk this well or this fast or this good by any means. Because if you were sitting with me when I'm editing this stuff, I mean, literally it's just like every other sentence, there's just some huge buffering. It's just my brain is just like, it's like frozen. It's just buffering. No high-speed internet up in the head. And so it makes the editing process long, because I don't want to bore you. I don't want to bore myself. It's just, there's so many new things going on and distractions with all this new ways I'm recording. And so bear with me. It will get better. The hope is by the 100th episode, it's going to be repetition, and we're just going to be killing it together. Let's go. Let's go, my 4 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. And my... I just showed you how new this is. What am I? I'm at 6 followers on Spotify, and I don't know the other stuff. So for the 5 people listening, thank you from the bottom of my heart. For the people that I know that will listen in the future, I hope that you do listen to the stuff before season 2, especially the testimonies. There's some really good stuff in there. There is some good thought and stuff for me that I did by myself. It's just, it could have been better. And so, I don't know, new year, new me. I don't know. It's not really, but so progress, right? It's all about progress. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. So, and I say so much. And that's another thing that drives me nuts when I'm editing. It's so. Like, shut up and just continue. This is my buffering word. I guess it's better than Anyway, let's see. Where am I at? So I've been sick for 2.5 weeks. For 2 weeks, I was like super sick. And I have a friend whose daughter was in the hospital with pneumonia. I went and saw them, gave him food or whatever, talked to him, hung out, because I've been in the hospital after having my son and had to go back and been there a couple times. And I just don't like the hospital anymore. So I have a lot more empathy for people in the hospital and stuff like that. And so I really just wanted to show up, right? And so I show up, and then I'm just like, man, I'm going to get sick. And, I was like, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. Maybe it will pass. Maybe it'll be okay. And then my friend, and then she got sick. And then I was like, well, you were close. It was your daughter. And then I got sick. And I've done COVID tests, and they didn't have COVID either. And I've done 2 rapid tests on my own, and I've done 2 rapid tests at an urgent care because I had to go to the urgent care twice. See, this is where it's all just went downhill. I took an antibiotic. I didn't have a total of 7 days And I only was able to take one in the morning and at night for like 2 or 3 days. And then I halved the rest of the pills that I had because this was like leftovers. Because I do not want to get pneumonia. I want to kill it in its tracks. Well, so when I did go to the doctor, because it was like white stuff, not y'all want to know about my snot and all, but it was white when I was on the antibiotic, and then it quickly turned not white once I kind of basically ran out, and I should have gone to the doctor sooner. And so I think what I'm saying is I kind of built up a resistance. You know what they tell you not to do? It was all anxiety and fear driven of not wanting to be in the hospital. And I knew that. And so I don't know if I made it worse or if it was going to be this way anyway. All I know is I was sick. I didn't want to be sick. It wasn't like how it's been the last few times that I got sick, where it's like, oh, it's a couple of days, oh, it's a week. No, I was done. It was just like annoying. It was a very annoying sickness, stuck in my sinuses. My mouth is dry. My nose is dry. I can't breathe. I have a blanket over my face when I'm sleeping, trying to like breathe in hot air. It was miserable. So I'm already tired. I was like, man, this is not getting better. And this actually is turning an infection because everything's green again. And I know that could be the virus dying, but the point of the matter is, I went back. He gave me the same prescription that I had already taken. So I think I built up the bacteria or whatever built immunity to it, or whatever the terminology is. And I had that I didn't even get to finish it, and I had to go back. And man, I got double ear infection so bad in my ears. I would lay on my left side. All the fluid just went in my sinus, like my middle ear. And it hurt so bad. I haven't had an ear infection. I mean, I've had swimmer's ear and stuff, but I haven't had something like that in years. And it was terrible. I'm finally getting back into the groove. I really was focusing on this podcast and how I want to go about things, how I want to do new episodes. I'm still figuring out this mom thing. So it just didn't work out. And so I said, I really want to still do the testimonies, but I really need to just put myself out there and just keep this thing rolling. Even I can't rely on other people to accomplish what I want to accomplish for, myself and what I feel is part of my purpose. Not my whole purpose. We'll get into that, in different episodes later, but a piece of it. And that piece being putting out content and putting out positive things. There's so much negative in the world. There's so much focus on negative, and I just want to give something for people to have hope in and to hold on to. And with that being said, that's one of the things that I learned. And I'm learning through those 2 weeks, I'm learning to take the pressure off of myself. I really didn't know what I wanted to do next because I had already done 2 episodes on my own, and I really wanted to interview someone next, but I was sick. I'm not going to put myself, I just couldn't do it. And so I'm just like, man, and I'm getting frustrated at this point. And I'm kind of like, all right, God, well, I thought that it was the time to do this. But I took a step back. I said, look, yes, you're sick. But something good will come out of the sickness, especially if you look for it and don't throw a pity party the whole time. And so that's what I did. I looked for the good in it because I know there's good in everything. And you can learn from any and every situation. So that's what I wanted to do, especially with the direction I want my life to go from this point forward. I guess yesterday it kind of really hit me. I was thinking about it. I was watching other people's stuff. And as they told their story, I could see how God was in the background kind of orchestrating the whole thing and leading them into the correct direction, the best direction for them. And this is where the pressure thing came about. This is where I really started putting pressure on myself because I was thinking about my audience, right, and who I want to reach. And I guess me and God kind of had this conversation last night after I was leaving the gym because it was all I was thinking about. I had to listen to the songs. It was motivating me, right? I'm thinking about how I want to go about my next episode because I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks now. I want to reach people who don't want to give Jesus the time of day. Like, I really do. But the other part of me is like, how much can I beat around the bush? How long can I beat around the bush without talking about what I'm really trying to, the whole reason I'm even really doing this? Like, I could do reaction videos and all this other stuff that doesn't really matter. It has no grit to it. It has no like depth to it. I could do that and I could make money, eventually or whatever. And I would love to, monetize off this stuff I'm doing, and that is the end goal. Like there's stuff I want to do, but it's not the reason. It's not number one priority. It's just gonna be like a piece of it, and that's something I'm learning too, and kind of diving into. But I'm not trying to monetize off of God. I'm trying to, and that's why there's so much pressure. I'm trying to present the gospel, which literally translates to the good news. I'm trying to present the good news to people so that they can live in freedom no matter the cards that were dealt to them. It's just, and God's put me here in this place, and this is me, and this is how, I was fortunate. I was born in America, but what am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with what God's given me? What am I going to do with all the talents I have? Am I just going to accumulate a bunch of money, even though I already live in one of the richest countries in the world? Probably, well, I know we're in a lot of debt, but, I'm not starving is what I'm getting at, okay? So what am I going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? If you're in America, like, what are you doing with it? And every door has just been shutting in my face. I started feeling the pressure when I wasn't focusing on directly saying the truth is Jesus Christ. I was saying it, but I was starting out indirectly. And it's because I don't want a bunch of people listening to me that know the good news. Yeah, I have different perspectives. I have different takes. I do think everyone can learn something from everybody. But I guess my heart's just out to the lost because I was once lost. I once didn't have hope. I once doubted and just felt like a wreck. And I have peace and I have joy. And when everything collapses in front of me, I have something to stand on. And I cannot wrap my head around people who have nothing to stand on when that stuff happens. The storm's going to come. I mean, look around. It's the life we live. It's not perfect. It's broken. So the storm's going to come, but when the storm's going to come, what are you going to be standing on? Are you going to be standing on rock? Are you going to be standing on sand? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we listen to the Three Little Piggy songs at a young age. You going to build your house out of bricks, sticks, or whatever the other thing is. I don't know. When I was recording my episodes and when I've recorded episodes in the past, I know where my heart is and what I want to do. And so it was putting pressure on myself to do it just right. But I had an epiphany last night, and the epiphany is that's not my job. It never was my job. And I've learned this lesson before. It's not the first time. My job is simply just to be directed, not be the director. So if God is telling me, speak truth, tell them who it is, tell them I am real, I am the truth. Not all religions are the same, but it's not about religion, guys. It's about relationship, and that's what I'm putting out. And that was a big boom thing when I was a teenager. The whole, there was a book written about it. Guy used to be a youth pastor, actually, about relationship is greater than religion. And so, like, that's where my heart's at, right? But I just had this epiphany of, that's not my job. I don't save anybody. People always talk about reaching souls for the kingdom or whatever. I forget how they phrase it, but the point is they don't do anything. God does it all. God has orchestrated me sitting in this chair right now in this moment in time, and whoever watching. I haven't done anything. I'm just regurgitating everything that I'm learning. That's all I'm doing. And that's all I need to do. It's still something I need to work through because I don't want to be ashamed. I'm not ashamed. If I was ashamed, there's no way I would do this because I know the hate comments are coming, especially with YouTube, which is why I realized I didn't want to do YouTube because I didn't want to deal with the hate comments. But then I realized, well, then who are you doing it for? That might have been a God asking me that question. Okay, well, who are you doing this for? And then I always go back to that verse, the verse in the Bible. I don't remember where, you can look it up, but they rejected me first, or they hated me first before they hated you, whichever way it goes. But that just hit me, and I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I listened to another guy's story, and he talked about how he was trying to get clients and stuff before he did, the God stuff, because the God stuff doesn't bring in a lot of money and all that. And this was a whole business like model and everything. And he was just in debt, about to lose everything for like 6 months. And then he lets go and lets God, and all of a sudden, within 3 months, everything's rolling again or something like that. I don't remember the story verbatim, but so all that I was learning within the time frame that I was sick, because I had to just be still. By the end of it, looking back and all the thoughts and how I want to move forward, because now I can, because I feel healthy enough to do so, I was like, I got to take the pressure off myself. How do I take the pressure off myself? I recognize that God is in control, and I'm not. So I don't have to worry about those things. Like, just saying it. It gives me freedom to move. During the time I was sick, too, I ended up watching a lot of YouTube, and I kind of fell asleep during this guy's thing because I was tired and all that. But I do remember the one part where he was talking about, basically, he was talking about being the hands and feet of Jesus, and he had some kind of vision or something, and some kind of communication with the Lord, and he was like, the Lord basically was like, you need to seek my face. And when he said that, I was like, that's all it's ever been about, is seeking God's face. Who is God? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. When your body is done, when your body is dead and your soul is living on, the one that created that soul, the one that gives the soul life, is the only thing that matters. And it just so happens the thing that did that actually really loved you a lot, and everything encompasses that. So yeah, we should seek his face. If we seek his face, we have a whole new perspective of everything. That really struck me. And with this and what I'm doing, it's like I am trying to be the hands and feet of Jesus, but I need to prioritize and make sure that I'm seeking God's face in the process, and that his face is the center of it all. And everything, because that's so that's what's going to fill my cup. So everything outside of that is just an overflow. And God's grace is abundant, so I'm excited. Like, I've seen God work in my life, and no, I don't, drive no Lamborghinis or nothing like that. I really don't care to be all rich and famous and all that. But just seeing what he's given me is insane. One of the things I can say is I'm in a house. It's not it's a house. I have a house. Like, yeah, awesome. A lot of people don't have a house. It was built in 1988. It's 3 bedrooms. The kitchen is probably the size of your laundry room for most people that live in the suburbs. And we're going to work on all that. But it has a wraparound porch. In my whole life, I've always wanted a wraparound porch. And every door in the house, so every 3 rooms, and then the living room, front and back door, there's a door. And it's so cool. So sometimes I just pull in the driveway, I look at my house, I look at my yard, and I'm like, I cannot believe I have this. It's just something small and like dumb and not a necessity, but God gave that to me. And the funny thing is I almost rejected it. So we're moving from Fort Liberty, whatever. Anyway, so we're moving from Fort Bragg down here. I came across this house, and it's got a red roof. So like, absolutely not. And it came up again, and it came up again. And then I clicked through the pictures, and I was like, man, this thing's got a wraparound porch. I don't even care anymore. I forget the red roof. And so this is the only house we looked at. This is the house we have. And it's a reminder, when I take the time to look at it, is God gave me exactly what I wanted. And he didn't have to. I didn't deserve it by any means. And financially, sometimes I don't even know how we have it, but everything worked out. I say all that because I noticed I was putting a pressure on myself because of expectations of other people. And if I'm putting pressure on myself because of expectations of other people, then I'm doing it for man, and I'm not doing it for God. And so no matter what you're doing in life, you start putting pressure on yourself because of expectations of others, you're already doing it wrong. And there's no freedom in that. And that makes you fearful. And when you're fearful, you're stagnant. And when you're stagnant, you're not moving forward. You're not getting anything done. So what's holding you back? What are you What are you fearful of? I imagine it's holding you back, like everybody. Faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. That's going to be another episode. I mean, you just got to have a little bit of faith. And if we put pressure on ourselves, we put fear in ourselves, and fear doesn't come from God. So 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timid, but of power, love, and self-discipline." If I have the creator of the world for me, who can be against me? What troll on YouTube can possibly do anything to harm me? What evil can possibly do anything to harm me? God's done it all. He's defeated. The worst thing that could happen is I could die. And that's not even the worst thing anymore, is because God defeated death. The worst thing that could happen is you could just be dragged on and live in a lot of pain. That'd be the worst thing. But God could end that too if he wanted. So the thing is it's already done. Everything's already complete. Victory's already won. So I'm putting pressure on myself because I'm trying to entertain man? Sorry guys, you're not that important. Just like I'm not that important to you. It doesn't matter. So just knowing that truth, knowing that it's pressure that you've created, and if I truly believe everything I'm saying, I don't need to have any pressure because it's already won. The war is won. Yeah, there's going to be some battles, but if the war is won, who cares? As long as you keep priority one, and that's seek God's face, you're good. What can man do? Nothing. What can some troll on YouTube do? Nothing. What can someone who says you're full of crap and says God's not real and God's dead and it's all brainwash and blah, 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 even though they've never done research, they've never even tried, just spitting off at the mouth. Hey, man, at the end of the day, it's your loss. You can run around in a circle of life getting after it when there's nothing to be gotten after because it's all going to end. It's all going to be over. So the real hope, the real way to pop that cap off the bottle that's been shooken and the pressure you've created is to have your hope, your salvation, your security in Jesus Christ, the guy that is God. God is Jesus. God humbled himself, put himself in a puny human body, lived a life in a broken world that was not intended to be that way, to fix what we messed up, what our little puny minds messed up, because somebody was jealous about how much we were loved. So God made a way, came down in the flesh, and I'm probably going to say this every episode because, the thing is guys, I've been doing this for a minute. I've been seeking God for a minute. And that's what's so great is he's always revealing himself in a new way, and I'm getting a deeper understanding of him. And so every time I spell out directly the good news that God came down in a human body to pay for our sins, pay for all the things that are out of whack, to bring us home, because our bodies are not going to last, that's great news. That is so good. And we can ask these questions and we can point the finger, but at the end of the day, you can point the finger all you want. You're not God. Sorry. And that's kind of what our culture is kind of pushing right now with the whole, be yourself. You're a God. No, you're not. You were created in the image of the God, but you are not God. And, one day you're going to learn that the hard way if you don't just accept it. And God is so good and so merciful. He's gentle with how he does all of this. So my pressure has been released because I'm done fighting it. It's not my battle to fight. It's God's battle to fight. And my heart hurts for the people that God wants to love him back so bad. He's going to love them whether they love him or not. And my heart hurts for God. And I'm going to try to do my best to be loving towards him, not for my good, just because of love. And I'm going to let him, he's taking the reins on this one. That's me going on the record. He's taking the reins. I'm done. I got nothing to give. I got nothing to prove. I just got good news to give. And that is what I learned from being sick. again. I mean, all the time. Sick. And if I get sick again, I don't even care anymore. I don't care. And I'm in a season of healing. And maybe that's why. And I'm learning some things. So to recap, pressure is something we've created based out of anxiety and fear, which is not a spirit of God, which you can read in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timid, but of power, love, and self-discipline. So recognize, understand the origins of the pressure that's tensing you up and making you stagnant, not letting you move freely. And then understand you don't have control and recognize what the truth is, because the truth will set you free. The truth is there's another dimension. There's spiritual battles going on. That is the truth. So whether you have pressure because of something spiritual or something physical that's going on, at the end of the day, Jesus Christ defeated all because he's God. And that's such a good thing. It's so, And even if you're struggling with something physical, the truth is, God knows what's best. God can see the entire picture, and anything that needs to be done is going to be done. Because there's purpose in everything he does, and everything he lets go. It's going to be great. That's the truth. So right there, recognizing the truth, you can breathe. You can let it all out. You can exhale and recognize this other truth. This is going to help you sleep at night, because I know people ask this question, why does God let bad things happen? Blah, 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 blah. Just this whole thing. I get it. I know. I don't know. But know this. This is the truth. Isaiah 55, verses 8 and 9. My thoughts are nothing like your thoughts, says the Lord, and my ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. For just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. So what does that say? That says, trust the process. Have faith. Take the pressure off. Put the pressure on God. So once you recognize that God's ways are higher and you can put your faith in that and release this pressure, you're allowing God to move. And when God moves, you can't lose. You cannot lose. Knowing that you can't lose because of God's mercy, goodness, His holiness, just how great He is, it gives us confidence. Confidence gives us mobility. Mobility makes us move. Movement makes us not stagnant. And not stagnant makes us occupy, which is what Jesus told us to do. Occupy until I come. And that is in Luke chapter 19:13. You can study that chapter and the things within and around that. But we're supposed to occupy. Occupying is movement. And I'm speaking as a person who recently started looking at everything that's going on in the world and freaking out. Especially now that I'm a mom. Started freaking out. And started getting into this mode of grabbing and gathering all these things, putting the fence on the fort, and just getting ready and hunkering down. But that is not what we were told to do. We were told to be bold. We do not have the spirit of fear. We have the spirit of power, love, and self-discipline. So with that bravery, you can occupy until God comes. Maybe His second coming is around the corner. Maybe it's within our generation. Maybe it's not. But you don't have to live in that fear. You just have to live in your purpose. If we go back to 2 Timothy in the first chapter, verse 7, where I was talking about how the spirit of fear is not from God, right above that, verse 6, this is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gifts God has given you when I laid my hands on you. So obviously this is a letter from Paul to Timothy, and there's some more context around it. But what we can receive from this for ourselves is once you put your trust in Jesus, you receive the Holy Spirit. And once you receive the Holy Spirit, it directs you and shows you your gifts and your talents. Because you kind of already have probably maybe even figured those out before or after God, but it leads you into more of a purposeful direction. Fan the flames. Don't live in fear. Live in power, love, and self-discipline. because you've been touched by God, the ruler of heavens and earth. And if that's not good news, I don't know what is. And that's my unqualified take on Relieve the Pressure, because there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. All right, thank you guys for listening and watching, whatever you're doing. I really hope you got something out of this. I really hope that God spoke to you through me. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole point. I hope that I remember that and I keep my priorities in check. So please pray for me that I keep my priorities in check. You trolls out there, because I know you're coming. Make sure you get that block out of your eye before you try to get that sand out of mine. All right, see y'all in the next episode. Peace.